Hey guys, in this video we're going to be going over control flow in JavaScript. But before I begin, please like and comment in the video and please sub to the channel. Alright, let's get started. So what are the control flow, right? What is it? And what are the logical operators, right? If and else and demo. So that is the flow that we're going to go through today. So hopefully, logical operators signals a reminder for the Boolean expression video that we watched that I made last time, right, where I go over the Boolean algebra. And that's exactly what this is. This isn't anything new. So that's the first thing I'm going to say in this video, is that please review the Boolean expressions video if that doesn't make any sense to you. This is a video only if you're clear on the Boolean algebra, concepts and methodologies, right? So if you don't know Boolean expression, please watch that video first and then come back to this, because if you don't understand Boolean algebra, this is going to be a hard, video for you. All right. So logical operators, I'm not going to do a comprehensive overview, just a basic one, right? So there are three that you need to know, right? There are others, but it's fine if you don't know them. So there's not, and or, right? And hopefully you remember the truth tables, right? And how they work. So when it comes to the if and else statement, basically the idea behind them is that I want, developers want a section of code to run only if a certain condition holds, right? So if you just have a blank text of code, right, wrapped in a function, it's going to execute regardless. So only execute portions of that function if a certain condition is true. So let me give an example. If I'm, let's say I'm iterating over the numbers, and I'm just doing sum plus equals I, right? So in this for loop, and we're going to go over loops in another video, in this for loop I'm iterating from 0 to 9, right? The 10 isn't included. So what if I only want to include the even numbers in this sum, right? Well, that's not going to happen in this for loop because I'm just adding the numbers blindly. There's no check saying, okay, is I even or not? But with the if statement, I'm able to do this. So if I say if I %2 equals 0, not 1, and I'm going to change the bounds here to be 1 to 10, right? If the bounds are, if the number is even, then I sum it, right? So sum plus equals I. So now we have this, and now it'll actually sum only the even numbers. So let me first print it out where it's not printing the even numbers, and then let me print out where it is. So I'll have this, and I'll have this. Let's do let sum all equal 0, and let sum even equals 0. And always include the space between your values, the clean code, right? So this is going to be sum all, so I'm not going to make the if statement. So delete that, that. Remove white space, and then sum all. And then here, I'm going to do sum even. And now I can just console.log both of them. So console.log sum all and sum even. And now let's run it. All right, so you have 55 and 30, right? And this makes sense because I'm only adding the even numbers. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, right? Which is 30. And then 55 is everything, right? So you can verify that on your own, right? So that's the whole idea with if and else, is that I'm only running a certain segment of code if it's true. If I were, let's say, 3 or 5, then 5% 2 will be 1, and this if statement will not run, right? So that's the whole idea. Okay, great. So I think that's a good demo of if and else. Now let's do an even more, more realistic demo, right? So a good example of how if and else would work is in carnival rides, right? When you're entering carnival rides, right, you have to be a certain height and age to go through a ride. right? So that's exactly a good demo of if and else, right? So let's just say we have, you know, a ride. It doesn't matter what that ride is. And you have to be 4.5 feet tall and 8 years old, right? These two conditions must hold. So, and then let's say you're making a function so that you can enter the right people in, right? So then what you'll do is you'll have, you know, a feet variable, let height equals 0, right? Now let's start with both as 0. Let age equals 0. And then now you can do an if statement. So if, right, height is above 4 feet and the age is above 8 years old, right, then you're good to go. Console.log, you're good to go, right? Now let's say that you're missing one of them, right? So then what you can do is you can only check for one of them. And let me explain why this works. So now you're saying you're greater 4.5. So you have the height requirement, but this age requirement didn't go through. So what you can do is you can say you are not above 8 years old. Right? And let me make it wider. And then same thing here. If I say age, if age is greater than or equal to 8, that means that this ran, but this didn't run. So that is saying that you're not above 4.5 feet. Okay, so now let me go over the demo again. So what's going to happen is the height and age will be whatever. We're going to configure this how we want. And then if both pass, right, then you're good to go because you're above 4.5 feet and you're above 8 years old. Now let's say both do not pass. Well, then there's two more cases. Either the person just, you know, does not have the right height or they're not at the right age. And there's actually the scenario where both aren't there. So we'll do it else. Missing both requirements. And also put your statements with a semicolon, right? So console.log. You're not of 4.5. You do not have both requirements. There we go. Okay. So now let's revisit this. So if both pass, right, then you're good to go. Now, if only one of them passes, let's say your height was above 4.5 or equal to 4.5, but your age didn't match, right? So you are 6. So this if statement will not run, and this if statement will run, right? Because you pass the height requirement, but not the age requirement. And other way around, if you pass the age requirement, not the height, then this will pass, then this will run. And then if none of them work, then this will run. So this is a good example of how if and else statements work, right? Just thinking of the Boolean expressions and wrapping them in if and else to give the right output. Okay, so now let's just try this. So this should be the else statement, right? You don't have both requirements. Let's do where you're greater than 8, so like 10. Right? You're not over 4.5 feet, right? So that makes sense because you passed the age. So I was actually testing, yeah, this. And now let's test where the age is under, but the height is good. So 6.0. And this one, you are not above 8 years old. Oh, did I do something? Yeah, okay, oops, I meant to say 9. So now here, you are, oops, I need to test this right. So I'm only trying to test the right height and less age. So 6, yeah. You do not have both requirements. See? Oh, you know what? We should put this as else if. I think that'll make more sense. Yeah, okay, there we go. So yeah, if, else if, else if, else. So the else if runs if this doesn't run, basically. So chaining it appropriately, right? So there we go. This is right because the height is good, but the height is good, but the age isn't. Now let's say both of them. 10. and run. So you're good to go. Okay, awesome. So, I made this very long, right? But it's a simple idea, if and else statements, right? Pretty much similar to any language that you're already familiar with. So I have more videos coming up, okay, on this great language. So please follow along. Watch the previous videos if you haven't already. And I can't wait to see you then. All right, bye.